Hello, Montana State University. This is my summer close, so excuse me for this. My name is William Grant Hill. I am here today to talk what's going to be in the class, in my practice class for the first week. This is actually what I'm going to have in my first week in chemistry honors class as well. So now that you've already seen me, I'm going to continue on. I do want to key you in on a few things though first. The grades are going to be, you're going to have 5 assignments per week. You're going to be you have a test per week. So it's going to be a research-based test essay that's due on Sunday. You have a quiz during synchronous. That means the times that the school tells you it's face-to-face, you will have to be there. If it says first period is supposed to be there from 9 to 9:30, that's when your quiz is going to be given, and it's due at 9:30 that morning. If you turn in late, you will get 0 for that. It's due on that Monday. We're going to have the quizzes on Monday. Your lab will be done on Friday and it will be due on Friday. Your discussion, you have 2 per week. You have to do 1 by Wednesday, and your second one has to be done on Friday. And then your homework, you have 1 assignment that's going to be assigned, and it's due on Sunday. Make sure you get to know your syllabus. There's a lot of good information in there, things you are required to know. Notice late work. I will deduct 25% each day that is late. Not your quizzes. Your quizzes, you don't get an option. The quizzes must be turned in on time, and if you turn in at 9:31 and it's due at 9:30, you got a 0. So if you turn your homework in a day late, it'd be a 75. 2 days late, a 50. 3 days late, a 70. 25, and so forth. That's the way it's going to be. So let's get rid of this. So now the introduction unit. There's my name again, William Grant Hale. I am honored to be your instructor this semester. We're going to be covering this unit is we're going to be talking about you're actually be doing a lot of work yourself. You're going to be reviewing the scientific method, something you've covered for many times since you've been in school. The metric conversions, precision and accuracy, significant figures and rounding, and scientific notation. We'll talk a little bit about, I'll talk about each one of these individually in a second. Okay, scientific method, the big thing you need to know about those is you need to know these in order, the steps in order, because when you write your lab report and your lab activity that we do every Friday, you're going to be expected to address each of these steps. So make sure you know those in order. If you don't know them in order, make sure you have this sheet there with you, and you make sure you address each one of these, okay? Metric conversions, you should have been doing these since elementary school. However, we're required to go over these. I include a little easy method for some people who are a little bit rusty on this. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. That's just a statement people can remember. Kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centa, and milla. You go up and down. You start at kilo and you're getting into base. You move the decimal point 3 spaces to the right. If you're going from centa to, say, kilo, you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe just 0.5 spaces to the left, and so forth. You're going to have some calculation, of these you have to do. You're going to have these exact ones. As a matter of fact, I worked 3 for you on your handout. They will not be worked for you, so you already have 3 of the 10 done. These should take you all but 15 seconds to do. Continuing on. Precision and accuracy gives you the definition of precision and accuracy. Accuracy is how close you're getting to your actual value or what you're aiming for. Precision is getting the same value over and over again. On your handout, you're going to have to go with this. I apologize for this little nucleus. Pretend that's the, what is that called? Hotspot? No, the bullseye. Pretend that's the bullseye and a target right here. I just pulled this from the Bohr model. We'll be talking about that later. If you're going to be precise and accurate, you're hitting the bullseye. And for precise, you're hitting them close together. Boom. If you're shooting a bow and arrow, 1, 2, 3. That would be very highly precise and highly accurate. If you're precise but not accurate, you could hit 3, 1, 2, 3. All 3 of your arrows are right beside of each other, but you're not accurate. But you are very precise because they're close together. And then neither precise nor accurate. You could hit one arrow hits there, one might hit here, and one might hit all the way down there or something. That's kind of what this is talking about. But the key thing you know about this is when you have precise numbers, they are the ones that go to the most decimal points. In other words, 6.41 is more precise than 6.4, and 6.4 is more precise than 6. Because this one here, you know it's a 6 and a 4 is correct. 1, it could be it would be an unknown. It would be the rounded number 2, which rounds to 1. Here, the only number we know for sure is 6. This 4 could be rounded from a 0.352 or whatever, and a 0.445 whatever it is, this one's the rounded number to 6.4. This is the only one we know for sure. And in this one, this is a rounded whole number. It could be a 5.6 all the way up to 6.48 or whatever. They round down to 6 if you go to whole numbers. So therefore, you need to make sure you recognize that. Significant figures. Now we're going to information you're supposed to know from your math class. Remember, you're supposed to have had Math 3 completed, or at least a co-requisite of your class that you're taking right now. If you don't have the math skills, I'm not going to be the one that's going to teach you the math skills. I go over them once in a while, but I do not spend an hour, 2 hours, even 20 minutes on them. You're supposed to know these already. I've actually got with your math teacher, and I've gotten with your math teacher and let them know that they, instead of having them round to the 3 decimal points, I have some of them agreeing to have you round according to scientific notation. I mean, significant figures as well. So all it's telling you is all numbers that are significant. If they're not zeros, they're significant. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all significant numbers. All zeros between two non-zero digits are significant. 5, 0, 0, 4. 5 is significant because it's not a 0. 4 is significant, so all 4 of these are significant. Here, 3.4000, it says all zeros to the right of both a number and a decimal are significant. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this was 34,000 with no decimal point, there would only be 2 significant figures, because right here, 34000, those are the only 2 that would be significant because there's no decimal point. But since there's a decimal point, all the zeros that follow are significant. And you're going to have some exercise to do on those as well. And the scientific notation, once again, is another math skill you're supposed to already know. So I will not be spending time on those. But going back to significant figures, you're going to have, here's your assignment, sorry about that. Significant figures, you'll have to be able to do those off and on all throughout the semester. We have calculations quite often in chemistry. So therefore, you'll have to use the scientific significant figures rules rather. Okay, and in scientific notation, you'll have to use these skills off and on all semester as well. This is all it is you have to have your decimal point where you only have one number to the left of the decimal point. So therefore, since the decimal point's not written down there for you in this first number, we know it's at the end of the 4. So it has to go here between the 5 and the 2. How many spaces you have to move it? 1, 2, 3, 4. You move it 4 spaces to the left. In other words, you took away 10 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So 5.234 times 10, you have to give it back on this side times 10 to the 4th. Here, 3.2 is already in scientific notation. Recognize that this means you take 3.2 times 10 0 times. Don't try to pretend that's a 0. That whole number is a 0 because that's times 0. Don't get involved with that. That's just telling you just multiply that number by 10 0 times. So the 3.2 inks the correct scientific notation with 3.2 times 10 to the 0. Here's an exact opposite. Once again, you have to have one non-zero number and only one non-zero number in front of the decimal point. That'll be right here. How many spaces you have to move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had to move it 5 spaces. So it's 4.28. And this time you added 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have to take 5 away here. 4.28 times 10 to the negative 5. This one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have taken away 10 8 times. So 6.02 times 10 to the 8th would be the correct answer for that one. Scientific notation calculations. On this one here, I did not give you too much of a heads up on these. But all you have to do on scientific notation, you just multiply the regular numbers when you're multiplying. Take the regular number 7.6 times 3.3, put that right there, times 10 to the 13th plus the 6, because when you're multiplying in scientific notation, you add the exponents. 7.6 times 3.3 times 10 to the 19th. Then you'd have to put that answer into correct scientific notation as well. Once again, it's another multiplication. Now I'm put 1 times 3.4, put that right there, times 10, add the exponents, 11 plus 14, and then you have to put that answer in the correct scientific notation. Now these are division. You just do the same thing, 7.6 divided by 3.3, put that there. When you divide, you subtract the exponents, times 10 to the 13th minus 6. And this one here, 9.1 divided by 3.4, put that answer there, times 10 to the 11 minus 14, and that's the way you would do these, okay? Did you wash your hair? That was just kind of added as a joke, but that covers my when I teach physics, my static electricity. That's the cover for my static electricity. I don't know why I chose that, but I did. Maybe because that hair looks kind of funky. Maybe it's a static hair. But anyway, thank you for your time. I hope that you all we're going to be learning something this week. This is mostly all review, but you need to know how to do this. Take care. Email me if you need to. I've got my email message in my syllabus. And once again, make sure that's not what I wanted to say. Sorry. Make sure you review your syllabus. Thanks.